Welcome back to Casual Bias Rugby. This is the official match preview for the first game of the Rugby Championship. The Wallabies taking on the Springboks, South Africa, my country. I'm going to try and stay as neutral as I possibly can. I don't know whether to feel confident or like shitting it a bit, to be honest with you. Obviously in this video we'll go through the squad announcements of both teams. We'll look at the betting odds of this game. Obviously, as you know, there's a link in my bio if you do like to put your money where your mouth is. I don't endorse it, but I do it. Okay, and if you're one of those guys that like to put your money where your mouth is, there's a link in the bio. You can click on that if you want to play some money on this matches. We'll look at the history between the two teams, and then obviously give our official prediction for it. But as I mentioned, I don't know whether to feel excited or nervous about it. On the one hand, you have South Africa, who's got this little voodoo over us where it's like we always struggle in Australia. It doesn't matter even how bad Australia is. Let me just get this light on. It's kind of something that I forgot about. Does that even look better? I don't even know. Anyway, we struggle in Australia. And then on the other side, I'm like, can we have picked a stronger 15? Probably not. I think truly this is our strongest 15, except for maybe Franco Mostert being in that lock position. But overall, I'm so satisfied with the South African team, but I'm still so nervous. You just know when South Africa has the favourite tags, and we'll get into the betting odds, as I said, we are massive favourites. But we kind of only perform when we are the underdogs, and it annoys the piss out of me. But anyway, we'll start off this video and look at just a bit of the history between the two teams. And I mean, if you just look at the last three fixtures, you'll see South Africa's won 2 out of the last 3. One in Sydney, one in Loftus, and then obviously Australia won in Adelaide. But if you look at it overall, all these guys, Australia's bossed us. Australia is our baby daddy, especially when we play in Brisbane. I mean, from 2015, 2 games in Brisbane, Australia won. 2015 Australia won in Brisbane. 2016 Australia won in Brisbane. Then South Africa got one over Australia at Loftus. Then at Perth and in Bloemfontein, both games ended up in a draw in 2017. 2018, Australia takes one in South Africa, and South Africa takes the one in Brisbane. 2019, only the one game, South Africa with a massive win at Ellis Park in Johannesburg. And then from there, it's Australia, and Australia again. All 3 games in Australia. And I mean, it's a ridiculous stat for South Africa. I mean, when we always talk about the World Cup wins and stuff, but we struggle against this team, this Australian team. It almost feels like rugby heritage that Australia just beats us, especially in Australia. That's kind of why I'm scared. But if you look at the Australian team, they've got so many changes, so many new faces. But the thing is, I respect Joe Schmidt so much. The way that he kind of rejuvenated that whole All Blacks team after one of their lowest points in rugby, you could kind of say. When he came on, he just changed the whole dynamic of that team, and they became World Cup finalists. So I have immense respect for Joe Schmidt, and I truly believe he will do something crazy with this Wallabies team, because I don't even think the Wallabies team was as bad as everyone reckoned. I just think Eddie Jones literally shoved this team straight up his ass. All the experience, everything he just took out. They didn't look like they had any structure. The best players that we mentioned, wasn't even in the team. What was going on? There was no Tom Wright. Okay, Andrew Kellaway was there, but you had this rugby league guy on the wing, Vunivalu. I didn't even know what that guy was doing. Who's that? Carter Gordon was at the 10 position, while he wasn't the best 10 in my opinion. But anyway, we'll get into the Australian squad in a second. We'll start off with going through the South African squad. In the 1-2-3, Oxenchair, Bongi Manami, Frans Malherbe. I mean, you don't really get much better than that. I've been a bit critical of Frans Malherbe lately. I've always said he's one of the best 3s, if not the best 3 that this world has seen. But lately, I don't feel so excited with him at the moment. I would have loved to have seen the likes of a Thomas du Toit maybe. I don't know. You can tell me what you think about that. Like, obviously, a lot of people would probably even say Vincent Koch, but Vincent Koch, once again, that guy that you just put straight on the bench. But overall, like Oxenchair on form, Bongi Mnambi always there, part of the leadership group, and Frans Malawi. You can't go wrong with that front row, and they will put immense pressure on this Wallabies team. Obviously, South Africa will want to set the scrums quickly because we don't want to have free kicks being given off. By the way, that rule shit is the biggest bunch of bullshit that I've seen in my life. I mean, so if a team just doesn't want to scrum, they just don't stand for the scrum, and then you can't pick a scrum again or anything, so you have to tap and run or kick the ball, so you can't run something off a set play. That is ridiculous. I've never seen such blasphemy in my life. Anyway, onto the locks. Eben Etzebeth, RG Snyman, no issues there. We know Franco Mostert, injury, broken leg. RG Snyman has to be there. And he has been playing very well. Okay, he anyway deserves a start as well. Not that anyone deserves to be dropped, but he deserves a start. Eben Etzebeth, massive series for him. He needs to step up once again. Into the loosies, we've got Siya Kolisi, Pieter Steff to tackle. As always, Captain Rugby, Captain Awesome. Siya Kolisi, Pieter Steff, as always, just immense. And I've raised the question before, like, obviously Ben Jason Dixon being on the bench, does that mean he slots in as the lock replacement, or do we see Ben Jason Dixon going on as a Lucy and maybe even Pieter Steff going back to lock? That is an interesting thing. I don't think Pieter Steff is that great of a lock, but then also Ben Jason Dixon isn't a lock, but he can play lock. So it's basically two of the same player, and I'm wondering which one is going into that lock replacement position, unless we just say Eben and Archie, you guys play the full game, which never happens. Anyway, in that 8 jersey, this is the exciting one. Elrich Louw. It was the travelling reserve, literally against Ireland, and here he is getting his start in that 8 jersey. He was brilliant for the Bulls. He deserves this. I was confused as to why he wasn't in the squad initially to even play against Ireland, especially with Jasper Wiese and Dwayne Vermeulen gone. But he's got it. He's got this position. He has to step up. We've been lacking in that 8 jersey. I was scared that we might go for Kwagga Smith in that 8 jersey. But obviously, Russia has finally said, okay, we've tried and tested Kwagga. We know what he can offer. He hasn't been great when he starts, but we know what he brings from the bench. He's probably our best impact player coming from the bench. He's absolutely ruthless, like a little Jack Russell going after a tennis ball. So I'm very happy for Ulrich Louw. The halfback combination, brilliant. Kobus Reinach, Sasha Feinberg, and Ngoma Zulu, like, they just give you so much attacking options. The fact that Reinach and Pollard was there, the one guy that he never really snipes, you just know he's going to either put up an up and under, or he's going to pass it to Andre Pollard, offering no attacking threat. Faf de Klerk passes it to Andre Pollard, who also doesn't really offer an attacking threat at the moment, except for kicking at goal. And we need to keep that ball with Tony Brown's system. We want to run the ball. Kobus Reinach gives you that fast ruck ball. He literally is a menace when it comes to sniping. Sasha Feinberg, does he kick the ball? Does he put up a cross kick? Does he dink it over the top? Does he go himself? Does he give it to Damian Dialinde and just like create for us a bit? But it just gives us so much more options, which is scintillating to see. This is what the South African public has been called for. It's the hype combo. We want to see it. I thought we might see the combination of Grant and Sasha. Like, I think I would have preferred that. But obviously, Kobus Reinach is our best 9. I've said it for the longest time. I'm just talking purely out of a combination perspective. No issues with the centre combination. Damian Dillon, the Jesse Creel. Yeah, I've seen a couple of people talk about fair enough. He's been on scintillating form. He's a brilliant outside centre. He was the best outside centre in the world, and now it's Jesse. That's Jesse's position. He's been brilliant. He's been the best 13 in the world, in my opinion, since right before the World Cup started. When he came in, he made this position his own, and he's really taken it by storm. So, I mean, fair enough. Kurtley Arendse, Cheslin Colby, Willie Leroux, I don't need to say anything about them. Vital to us, vital to our success. The try scorers and the guy that literally creates all or he's the assist king. Willie Leroux at fullback, vital for us. Going into the replacements, and this is where I get so excited. Like, the outstanding issue for me, when it comes to the starting 15, is not seeing enough fetchers on the field. So that's why I would have switched the bench and the front, like the front row on the bench and the front row that's starting, just to have Malcolm Marx as the fetcher in the start at the start of the match. But anyway, if you look at the bench, you've got Malcolm Marx, Marco van Staden, and Kwagga Smith to absolutely disrupt the breakdown, just like be an absolute menace there, which makes me so excited. Gerard Steenekamp, very excited to see him once again. He's a brilliant scrummager. Vincent Koch, as always, impact from the bench. Ben Jason Dixon, the standout player for me there. Yeah, as that wraps us up for the South African lineup. I mean, I'm super excited to see this team. It's a mixture of experience and youngsters and guys on form and talent. That is what we want to see. I don't want to see a team of just talent. I don't want to see a team of just experience. I don't want to see a team of just on form players. Like, we need to get a mixture of it, and this finally looks like we've got that. This is our strongest 15 in my opinion, so I'm super happy to see it. We're moving on to the Wallaby lineup, and first and foremost, I do apologize for my pronunciation of certain players' names. I haven't seen everyone, so I'm a bit rusty on this Wallabies team. But there's a couple of absolute standout players for me. Let's start off with the 1, 2, 3. We've got Isaac Alea, Matt Faisler, and Alan Alatua. We know the story about Alan Alatua and Eben Etzebeth. Obviously, they shared a beer afterwards. But you know, that stuff like that, it never just settles. I would love to see a little rivalry and a little argy-bargy on the field again. I love the days of rugby where it's not like, oh, if you touch the guy, it's a yellow card or it's a red card or whatever. I like the fact that there's physicality, that people have emotion, that they grab each other a bit. It just makes it so much more exciting, you know. Just put some personality in the game. It's the same with press conferences. I'm done with seeing this bullshit of, oh yeah, we respect them. Go out there, say, listen, we want to smash this voodoo. It doesn't tell a true story. We are so much better than the Wallabies. I'm not saying we are. I'm just making an example, obviously. Anyway, Nick Frost and Salakai Lotu. My goodness. I have no idea who that is. I know who Nick Frost is. Obviously, talented player, a bit more experienced, I think. But yeah, it gets a bit more exciting when you talk about Rob Valentini. If you watch Safas Unscripted, the podcast that I'm on, you know Brevan loves a bit of Rob Valentini. Like, he absolutely adores this guy. And I want to actually just kind of involve the Wallabies guys, because as you can see, I'm struggling. I don't know all these Wallabies guys. It's a new look. The backline, obviously, I know a lot more. They look a lot more exciting, but the forwards, I struggle a bit with it. Who are you guys excited to see? Like, who are standout players in the Super Rugby? And who of you have rather wanted to see? I'm very surprised not to see Taniela Tupou. I'm not too sure if he's injured. If he's injured, fair enough. Otherwise, I was looking forward to the scrum battle between Taniela Tupou if he started against Oxenche. And I was going to look forward to Gerard Steenekamp going up against him, because he's an absolute beast of a human. Anyway, let's move on to the back line before I just make a fool out of myself with the forwards. Jake Gordon from the Waratahs. I am very surprised to see him start. I would have gone for Tate McDermott. I think the way that Tate has played for the Reds over the past few years has been absolutely scintillating. I feel he's a standout player. I wonder what the decision making or what the thought process was behind it. I wanted to see Nick White, to be honest. I missed the shithousery of Nick White, but to be fair, Jay Gordon and Tate McDermott better than Nick White, in my opinion. Noah Lolosio, you should have been the 10. What were they doing? What was Eddie Jones doing with Carter Gordon at the 10? Like, Noah Lolosio has been the best 10 for quite some while. Obviously after Bernard Foley. But like, he just offers you so much more. I think he's an absolutely brilliant player. You can see his talent when he plays for the Brumbies. Should have been the 10 a long time ago. Should have been the 10 in the World Cup. Finally, he's the 10 under Joe Schmidt. Joe Schmidt knows what he's talking about. Hunter Paisami, Len Ikitau, brilliant combination. Absolutely brilliant combination. They did damage against the Springboks a couple of years ago as well. So, very happy to see them back in there. And then the back three. Daugunu, coming back from suspension, brilliant player, big, strong man, fast. And then obviously Andrew Kellaway and Tom Wright. It's just like, who do you want at fullback and who's going to be the other one on the wing? I mean, I want to know from the Wallabies, would you have liked to have seen Corey Toole or do you support that? Obviously, Kellaway has been brilliant for the Rebels. Obviously, I'm not too sure where he's going now, but he's just a standout player for that Rebels team. He's a brilliant fullback. But then also Tom Wright, standout player for the Brumbies again, brilliant fullback. I mean, he scored one of the best tries for the Wallabies against, Wales. Super talented. Why was he not at the World Cup? Like, how can you be playing Ben Donaldson, that sounds like a history teacher or a science teacher or whatever? How can you play him above Tom Wright? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Anyway, let's move on to the bench. You've got Josh Nasser. Is it Nasser? James Slipper, obviously super experienced. Slots into either the tight head or the loose head prop position. And then Zane Nongor. Obviously, with the forwards, with the front row, the start and the bench front row, they will have their work cut out for them. And I'm dead sure that they know about that and they would have been preparing for it. So it's an interesting battle. We want to see how the Wallabies can match up physically against the Springboks. I think it's a great test to see it. Jeremy Williams, Luke Reimer, just to finish off with the 5-3 split. Has the Wallabies ever played a 6-2 split? I don't know. Like, I feel when you play against South Africa that really focuses on that forwards, maybe the best choice would be to go for the 6-2 split. That's just my opinion. Obviously, Luke Reimer making his debut. The same with, Carlo Tizzano. Well done to them for making their debuts. Tate McDermott as the halfback replacement. Tom Liner as the 22. Now, this is probably where I would have gone Ben Donaldson instead of Tom Liner. Yeah, I don't know. Just a bit more experienced, a bit more calmness on the ball. And then obviously to round it off, you have Dylan Page, whatever. Yeah, as I said, not the most experienced Wallabies team, but Joe Schmidt knows what he's doing. It's kind of like that caveat where it's like, well, you can pick a shit team, but it's Joe Schmidt. That's how much I respect that guy. Obviously, I hate it when he said the South Africans sometimes get the rub of, the rub of the green or the rub of the ball. They get a bit lucky. They won three matches by 1 point. It's a bit of luck. Like, people, seriously, give some credit. Anyway, but Joe Schmidt, brilliant coach. I think he can make magic work either way. Let's move on, right? Let's talk a bit of the betting odds. As I said, I am a gambling man. I don't endorse it necessarily. I know it's addictive and stuff. So if you don't do it yet, don't do it. But if you like to put your money where your mouth is, obviously we can see Australia, heavy underdogs. And how can you put them at a 4.5 underdog? Like, seriously, if you were to put $100 on Australia, you get 450. I mean, look at the history. I know people say, listen, this Wallabies team is shit. They are on the longest winning streak. They've got Joe Schmidt at the moment. Like, obviously, I'm predicting South Africa to win. I'll give my prediction. I'm going South Africa by 15 points. Okay? But surely some history comes into this. This Wallabies team has been preparing for this game. I really don't think they will be as bad as people think. I think it'll be a close game. I think it's got an 8-point game written all over it, and then finally at the end of the game, South Africa score again to make it a 15-point game. And I can see it being a high-scoring game. So if you wanted my advice as to what I would go for, I'd go South Africa and over 50.5. I see a high-scoring game, running rugby. South Africa, although we focus on defence, we've been leaking a couple of points, to be fair, and the Australian attack has been great, but they leaked points against Wales. I think it's plain and simple. South Africa and over 50.5. That is what I would go. South Africa with a 1.26 favourites tag, not worth it. That's silly. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. As always, I do appreciate you guys. Do remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you.